And now we will learn how to import bank transactions with IIF files. IIF files are special. They are in a special format for importing anything into QuickBooks. That means you can import transactions, but you can also import list items as well, such as customers, vendors, products and services, and so on. Special programming knowledge is needed to make IIF files that will import as transactions. Usually it takes longer to program the IIF files than it does to just enter the transactions into QuickBooks manually. However, some banks make bank transactions downloadable as IIF files. It's a possible alternative to bank feeds, but it's not as smooth, which you're about to see in a couple of minutes. So you might ask, what's the difference between downloading Web Connect files or doing bank feeds compared to just using an IIF file? Well, the IIF files provided by PayPal and other financial institutions are only bank transactions, even though technically you could use IIF programming to import any transactions with any level of detail. But banks and PayPal will only make available their transactions. They import as transactions, not as review data, and they do not appear in the Bank Feed Center or the review list. They go straight into QuickBooks. They all get recorded into the other expense account or the other income account, and you must go through them one by one after they are imported to correct the account to make sure you put the right expense, the right income, or the right transfer account for each of the transactions that are imported with the IIF file. It's almost the same thing as going through the review list one by one to assign the account and name. So since you would have to go through them one by one anyway if you did bank feeds or if you did Web Connect files, you might find that using an IIF file might not be that different. The only difference is there are no rules to set up or matching to do. So using an IIF file might take a little bit longer than it would if you're using bank feeds or the review list or Web Connect files, because you can't set up automatic rules that reclassify and you can't match them to existing transactions to save time. Now here I am logged into my PayPal account, and you can see I'm still extremely unsuccessful in business. But to get the IIF file to download it into my QuickBooks desktop, I click Reports, and then I get a panel of choices on the left. One of the choices is Activity Download. Then PayPal brings you to this window. Now, be aware, the only format that will import transactions into the desktop version is IIF. CSV will only import lists into the desktop version, and these other formats won't do anything. So we choose QuickBooks IIF and click Create Report. Now, PayPal expects you to have a bank type of account in your chart of accounts to put all these transactions, and over here it's asking for the name. You may notice I have not even put a PayPal bank type of account in my chart of accounts yet. But after I import the IIF file, QuickBooks will automatically create a PayPal account for me in my chart of accounts, and it will name it PayPal, and it will be a bank type of account. Also, I had mentioned earlier that it will put all the transactions that are checks or payments into this account called Other Expense, and all of the deposits it will automatically record into this Other Income account. Now, if I have already put in income and expense accounts, and I know the name in my chart of accounts, then in that case, I could tell PayPal the name of the income account that I want all of the deposits to go into, and I could tell PayPal the name of the account that I want all the checks and payments to go into before I clarify them. But if I don't have these three on the list already, PayPal will automatically create an account with this name, an account with this name, an account with this name, if I don't tell it the name of the account that already exists. So I'm going to click Create Report, and then we're going to wait a little bit because it takes time before you submit. Now, I actually created an IIF file in the past, so I can actually click Download to that particular past IIF file, Show in Folder, and now copy it. I'm going to copy it and put it on my desktop. This way I can import it into my QuickBooks desktop version. See, we go here, paste, and it's called Download To, and it's an IIF format. And now I can import it into my QuickBooks file. To import the IIF, it's very simple. File, Utilities, Import. Just like we did Web Connect files in the previous video, but in this case we choose IIF files. Go to the desktop. Now there's only one IIF file on the desktop, and this is it. It was named Download To. And when I double click, okay, it says your data has been imported, and that's it. Now remember, this data is not in the Bank Feeds Center. This data has already been recorded as transactions. In fact, PayPal created 3 accounts in my chart of accounts just to import the data as transactions. That's because a moment ago I didn't tell it the names of the accounts that already exist. I click Trial Balance and notice there's a PayPal account here with a $66 balance. And now we have the income. We have an other income account here, and then we have the other expense account somewhere. Other income is here, other expense is here, and PayPal. So these 3 accounts were created by the IIF file. But again, if I already knew the names of those accounts, I would have told that to PayPal before it downloaded, and it would have put it in the accounts that I named. Now, you may well ask, how can we reclassify them quickly? Well, one way is to open the account register and change the account one by one. You could open it from the trial balance, and that might be more helpful, and I'll show you why. And if you have the accountant's version of the QuickBooks desktop program, you could use a tool called Client Data Review to quickly reclassify all the accounts. But you can see that the IIF alternative is not the best choice because these are not perfect solutions, as you will see. First, if we click the chart of accounts, you can see that the 3 accounts that PayPal added when I imported the IIF file are all bank type of accounts. So they show up here, even though it says other income and other expense, they're bank type of accounts. Now the good news is that means that we can double click on them and get the account register for that account. Now, this is not a convenient format to work with the account register. I don't think this is clear. It's really 2 lines for every 1 transaction. The best thing to do is to click in the bottom left 1 line, and then you can clearly see 1 line per transaction. And then all you have to do is reclassify the account. Really, we should double click the PayPal account and then go through it one by one. So if we come up here, we can see that all you have to do is click on the line. Well, let's choose this one. Click on this line to Netflix, and if I know it's Netflix, I know that's which expense. I know that's, for example, that's energy expense. So I change it to energy expense, and I click record, and I click yes, and I would have to go through this one by one. Same thing with Udemy. Okay, well, this one I already changed, but let's say from income from Sharon Jackson, I happen to know is income from teaching services. So I click income from teaching services and I click record, and it changes. Now, the bad thing about using the register is that sometimes PayPal makes some of the transactions into a transfer type of transaction and not a check. Watch. When I go to change this to another expense, for example, delivery expense, and I click record, and I click yes, I get this weird error message that says that they both have to be bank type of accounts for a transfer, which means QuickBooks believes that this is a transfer and not just a payment. Now, I don't know why PayPal does this, and I don't know which accounts it will put it on and it will not. I don't know which ones PayPal designated as a transfer and which one it designated as a check. But that would be easier to see if we open the trial balance. If we open the trial balance and double-click the PayPal account, you can see all the transactions in the transaction by account list for PayPal, and for some reason, QuickBooks assigned the transaction type as transfer. So if you double-click, it comes up in this window, and it won't let you transfer, it won't let you choose an expense or an income type of account. That's one of the reasons why an IIF file is a bad alternative compared to a Q.B.O file or something else that you would download as a Web Connect file. It's very awkward, and sometimes it doesn't work right, as you can see.